Hello, I'm Josh with Josh Lamb Systems. We are an AI workflow automation company that works with B2B, especially service-based businesses. And in this video, I'm going to show you for free how to capture additional service revenue through building a Stripe and Retool integration that allows you to have a simple app where you can record time for customers. So, one of the problems that you likely face as a service-based business is accurately recording and billing for your time, particularly time that's ad hoc, so out of scope of a certain project. You've won the trust of your customers, and so they come to you for advice, and you need a way of being able to bill for that advice that doesn't make you kind of pull your hair out because you don't know how to accurately track that in a system and be able to bill them without sending a second or third invoice. And so we've all been there, and you've had to chase a customer down for 15 days or 23 days because you had to add an additional invoice to bill for 2 hours of time. And at the end of the day, maybe for some customers, you just end up writing it off or voiding that invoice. You spent the time, you should have gotten paid for it, but it was just too confusing to bill the customer. And at the end of the day, you just lost that revenue. We're going to solve that problem today. And so what we're going to do is we're going to build you a simple app where you can go in, you can select a customer, and then you can say, I did 60 minutes for that customer today, and hit submit. And then what happens in the background is from an invoice basis, you will have your existing products. And then underneath that, you'll actually have a line item that is a billing meter. And this will be just like how the electric company operates. You can put 60 minutes here, 43 minutes here, 2.5 hours here. And at the end of the month, the customer will receive a invoice automatically on the same day, and that invoice amount will vary based on how much time ad hoc you've spent with that customer, spent working on those customers' projects. This is also smooth for the customer because they're used to then paying one invoice from you every month, and they understand that that will vary based on how much they've engaged with you. So it cleanly and simply solves many problems at once to be able to do this. And on this call, we'll be able to set up this app very quickly in probably about 15 minutes or so. Um, this is me at the beginning of the video before we've dived in. So we'll see how long it actually takes us, but I've got some templates and things that'll make this faster. So let's go ahead and we will dive in and we will look at how to set this app up. Okay, so now we're in Stripe, and I'm going to go through and do some setup steps here. Over on the left side, I'm going to billing and meters, and I'm inside of a sandbox account, so I can do whatever, and I'm not going to break anything. I'm going to make a test meter. I'm going to call this consulting minutes. That's fine. The aggregation method, I'm going to do sum, and I'm going to leave the default how they are here. So I'm going to go ahead and create this meter. And this will allow me to send these events to Stripe and for that to be recorded. This next thing that I need to do is in my product catalog. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to make a few things. So one, I'm just going to make something unrelated to what we're doing here. So we'll call that website hosting. I'm going to charge that as a recurring monthly thing. We'll just put in 20 bucks and do add product. And so this will be a separate thing that I want to have in my invoice just to illustrate. All right, then the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to make our consulting minutes. We're going to put that in here. We're going to have a description. Just fill in whatever you want here. There we go. And this is going to be a different type of product. So we're not going to do a recurring product here. We're going to do a usage-based product. So I'm going to go over here and under pricing options, pricing model, I'm going to do usage-based. I'm going to do per unit. And then it's going to have me, this is very important, I want to link it to my meter. So I'm going to choose my meter here that I made, consulting minutes. I'm going to attach that billing period monthly, and then just make up whatever price you have. You can also add multiple prices here. So if we added just $1 here, that would be $1 per minute that we would charge on here. We do next. And then we would add everything here. We can add additional prices here, and then we'll do add product. So that's now our thing. So you may have different rates for different types of customers as well, and different things that you're doing. So you can add those in, and we'll show you how to do that in the app here. So we go through, and we've got these two products created. In Stripe, I'm going to add a test customer. Just gonna have fun with this. I'm gonna say Bruce Wayne, and that's gonna be Bruce at WayneEnterprises.com. All right, so I've added Bruce Wayne in here, so he's my first test customer. So I've got a customer, I've got other products, and I have my metered consulting time product. So I'm gonna go in here, and I am going to now go over to Retool, because I should be done with what I need to do in Stripe. So I'm going to go into Retool. If you've never used Retool before, you can just go to retool.com. You can sign up, and it'll kick you right into the screen here. It might do a little tutorial thing you can quit out of, and you'll have that here. Okay, so I've made this very easy. So if you go into apps and you go into create, you can actually upload from a template from JSON. So we're going to choose that, and there'll be some links here where you can download the file that you need for this. But let me go ahead and zoom out of the way, and I'm going to I'm just going to drop in the template right here. I'm going to hit create app. The next thing that we're going to do, so you can see here, the app is created. So all of the setup for that is already done. We're going to go back to home in the top left here. We are going to go to database, and then we're going to do the same thing. We've got a template for the database, and we're going to do import from CSV. We are going to delete this first column, this ID column. We don't need that. And we're gonna check off use CSV column, create a primary key recommended. That's what we're gonna do. So we're gonna allow it to make a primary key. All of these should be text except for customer, or except for enabled. This should be Boolean. Customer ID should be text as well. So we're gonna make those changes. We're gonna hit create table, and you've now created your beginning table there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to resources, and I need to do one more thing, which is I need to connect Stripe to Retool. So I'm going to go to resources, create new resource, and Stripe is actually a built-in resource. So I can do Stripe. I'll just search for it and then click on it. And then I'll just call this Stripe API. And then I'm going to use the latest version. That's fine. And API keys section of my Stripe dashboard is where I want to go. But actually, if I go to home, it should have this one right here. It's going to be your secret key. If you're in production, it's going to be your secret key. I'm in a sandbox, but it's going to be your secret key, not your publishable key. So you're going to copy that one, and we're going to put that in here. And we are going to hit save, create resource. All right, that's created. Let's go back to resources. And we will now go through the database, and I'm going to correct the test data that we have here. So for customer Bruce Wayne, I'm going to click on him, and I'm going to click to copy his customer ID. I'm going to go to my sample users table, and I'm going to put in his customer ID. When it comes to subscription item ID, I'm going to go through and set up his subscription. So I'm going to add a subscription for him, and I'm going to add my different products. I'm going to add my hosting, and I'm also going to add my consulting minutes, and I am going to create the test subscription there. Okay, I'm going to need to add a payment method. Because this is a test, I'm going to go ahead and add that in the background, and then I will pause this video and I'll come back. All right, I'm back. So if you go to Stripe, there are test numbers that you can work with. You can just Google this. So I went ahead and added their test data in for him, put that in there, and now we can create it. Okay, so he is set up, and what's important is if I go to his subscription, he has both of these things here, and he has his minutes here. So he will actually have a unique subscription item ID, and this is important because it's going to tie everything together that you're recording. So I'm going to grab this for him, and I'm going to need to put that in as an ID here. The other thing that I like to do usually is grab the subscription URL, and I copy that just because that'll take me right to that for that person. And so I've got an easy way to get to them there. So I'm going to go through and I've got him set up. So for each of your customers that you have, you'll want to go through and add this. You want to make sure that you set up their subscription. If they have an existing subscription, you'll add that line item to them. So you'll add your consulting minutes to the existing subscription, and then they'll be billed along with anything else that they have with you. So he's set up. And so now what I can do is I can go back to my apps, go back to my Retool app here, and you can see I've got Bruce Wayne here. So now all that I need to do, I can edit anything about him from here, so I don't even need to go to the database part, and I can also add a new customer from here. So all that will do is add this entry to the database. So I could have just done it from here versus just the database. And now all that I have to do is I just have to add if I'm, did 2 hours of work for Bruce Wayne. I was helping him on some of his cool new equipment. I know he has his Batmobile, so I was doing some work on the Batmobile. That was 120 minutes. That was 2 hours that I did for him, and then I just hit submit minutes. And then what's going to happen is I get my first error. So I'm going to go through and fix this. This resource is actually because it's not linked to Stripe. So I want to keep this on the recording so I can show you how to fix this. So if we go to code, so I have my record time to Stripe app here. We've got code. When it goes to submit to Stripe, that's what it's trying to do here. And I just need to link this to the Stripe API thing that we created earlier. This is going to be here, let me pause real quick. Okay, so we've linked this resource here. So we've chosen the Stripe API. We're now going to do the meter events. So if you click in here and just start typing, so we will find meter events. And then as we go in here, we're going to do the payload and the event name. The event name is going to be consulting minutes. And then for the payload, we are actually going to look at how Stripe wants us to structure this. You're going to go in, click use the API, and you'll see we have the payload, which consists of the value and the Stripe customer ID. So we're going to go ahead and copy this and paste it in as our object. The value is going to be the number of minutes. So if we go to number of minutes here, this is what it's called, consulting minutes.value. So I'm just going to type that in here. I'm going to do brackets to give me some magic here in Retool. I'm going to start typing consulting minutes. It's going to fill that in for me. I can hit enter, and then it's going to want to do value. I can hit enter again, and it's going to be the current value. So if I hover over it, if I enter in a value here, and I then hover over it, it's going to tell me the current value that's in there. Next is the Stripe customer ID. And so what I'm going to do is fill that in with the ID of the customer that's currently selected. So if I do data table dot selected row dot customer ID. It's going to give me, or customer ID. It's going to give me the customer ID that is for the current customer. I am going to go ahead and hit save there. And I'm now going to test. So I'm going to go, and for this one, I'm going to do 60 minutes. I'm going to hit the submit button. It's going to submit to Stripe. And I saw that what I had is I had a little space on the end there. So I fixed that, and we are going to go ahead and try again. So Bruce Wayne, 60 minutes, hit submit. Okay, so this last part we're going to have to do is go through in Retool. I'm going to select the Stripe API that we created, and I'm going to do, for the operation, I'm going to go to meter events. So I'm just going to click in and type in meter, V1 billing meters. It's actually meter events. So V1 billing meter events. It's going to ask for two things, payload and event name. Event name is easy. That's just going to be consulting minutes, just like that. Nothing fancy. For the payload, it's going to be the amount and then also the customer. So I've got this all formatted. I'm going to paste this in, and you can just copy what you see here. So value, we have consulting minutes dot value, which is this box right here. So if I enter in 120 minutes for 2 hours, then it's going to show that as the value. For the Stripe customer ID, it's going to be the currently selected customer ID. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that that's saved if there's a save button up here. And then now what we're going to do, let me just trigger that. No, it's smart enough to detect that it's good. Okay. So then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do a test here, 120 minutes. I'm going to hit submit. And you can see down here, I've got a little green check mark. Things went through. So I'm going to go ahead and check on my subscriptions here. And it may take a minute to update, but as you go through and pull up the subscription itself for that person, you will be able to see adjustments that took place. So you can see I've sent in a couple of tests here, and it's got 180. And that broke down from some of the tests that I've done. If I go to meters and I click into the meter, I can actually see events that were sent through. So you can see some of my tests that I just sent through, 60, 120, 120, and those will be reflected on the invoices. So these are being sent from Retool. If I need to go through and click on those, I can go through and do that. This is now fully set up. So if I go back to preview, I will save this URL as my app. And so now everything is set up and it's all complete. And all I need to do is, as I'm going through and working on client projects, I can just select that customer. I can select Bruce Wayne there. I can put in what I did. So if I did another hour today, I'll go in, I'll put that in, I'll hit submit minutes, I'll make sure I get the green check, and that's it. That's all I have to do. What's going to happen in the background is now all of that will get added to his time that I'm doing, and that will get billed automatically on his subscription. And there's nothing further that I need to do. There's nothing further that the customer needs to do. And you've solved a big problem with being able to record your time. So we are an AI workflow automation company. If there's anything that you need, projects similar to this, or you want us to set up this exact thing for you, you've liked this video and you just want this for your business, go ahead and reach out to us, and we'd love to help. Thank you.